the metallic densities. So this is normal and this is a tension pneumothorax. Can you see heart being pushed to the right? And this is the collapsed lung. So we have a normal to compare. Where are the lung markings? This is how it should have been. Can you show any blood vessel? Yes, if you can show a blood vessel, then it's not a pneumothorax. But if there are no blood vessels, can you see without blood vessels, it becomes more black or more lucent? So this is the air with blood vessels. This is the air between two layers of pleura. So there's nothing to attenuate the X-rays. A pneumothorax always appears more black or more lucent compared to the normal lung. Because the normal lung has blood vessels, it has lung parenchyma. But this is air alone between two layers of pleura. And explosion-related injuries, primary when the blast wave affects, secondary when there's penetrating trauma, displacement, tertiary, and crush, burns, and inhalation injuries are quaternary. So these are the mechanism of explosion-related injuries, just a little bit. The main effect by the blast wave, the various structures, the metallic things, shrapnels, everything, they cause penetrating trauma, which is secondary. The blast wind, tertiary, crush, burns, and these are quaternary. So all this range of injuries can happen with explosion-related injuries. So that is the person, and let's see the effect now. So I told you, if you haven't understood, now is the time. And a very common scenario in Karachi. So you can see, can you see the pneumothorax? Okay, let's see what happens. Initially it remains small. It's getting bigger, but is it tension yet or not? Not yet. Still it's not tension. Now it's reached a bigger proportion, and now it's tension. See? The trachea is pushed to the good or the normal side, heart is being compressed. So once this happens, it's tension. Before that, it's a simple pneumothorax. And a hemothorax can do the same, but it was air and here it is blood. So let's see. So each lung capacity it can hold 1.5 liters of blood. So the same example, but a different effect. So let's see. There it was air which was shown in yellow. Here it is blood. So this can also cause pressure on the heart, and then it will have a similar effect, similar to the tension pneumothorax. So it can be a tension hemothorax, although there is no such term as tension hemothorax, but the effect is the same. So where does the blood come from? All of it. There are lots of blood vessels, rather all the major blood vessels are in the thorax. Flail chest is an entity. We are ending trauma with this entity. So if ribs are broken at more than one site, you get a flail chest. So let's see further example. At least 2 ribs at 2 or more places. So can you see the ribs are broken at 2 places? And if there are at least 2 ribs, 2 by 2 you can remember, 2 ribs broken at 2 sites, then you get a flail chest. And in a flail chest, that becomes independent, so with breathing that part of the chest doesn't move with the rest. So there's paradoxical breathing pattern. The flail segment is an independent segment. With inhalation and exhalation, there's no movement there. And pericardial tamponade is when the pericardium has We were talking about the pleural space or pleural cavity. Now it's the pericardium. So if blood enters and expands the pericardium, can you see the similar effect? So it's called pericardial tamponade. And if it becomes big enough, it will cause further pressure. Can you see the heart is being compressed now? So this is again to keep sleeping people should wake up. So if diaphragm ruptures, then if there is a rupture of the diaphragm, the abdominal contents will enter the chest. Stomach will go up, liver and spleen can go into the thorax. Very appropriately said. So trauma is common, it is serious. Primary goal is to provide oxygen to the vital organs. Remember ABC. But remember it in any sequence. Next time they'll again change it, but remember it could be CAB, it could be ABC, it could be anything. So as long as you remember all three, it's okay. So trauma is a setting where minutes matter. So our next topic, which after trauma was the biggest topic for today, pulmonary nodule. So what to do next when you see a solitary pulmonary nodule? Yes, if there is any previous X-ray available, in that case, if there is number 2 CT scan, and so if it is stable for 2 years, then you can label it as benign. Stable would be no increase in size and no change in appearance. So if it remains unchanged for 2 years, you may not do a CT scan. Otherwise, a CT scan, if it shows spiculated, can you see the irregular margins with spicules? The projections coming out of the mass. So if you see this appearance, consider it more likely to be a tumor. If you see a calcified, totally calcified nodule, then it's likely to be a granuloma. So granuloma can be left behind, but for this you have to further do something. So for this you would do a biopsy to confirm and have a histopathologic diagnosis, because treatment always requires histopathology. So if you get an irregular nodule, then you do a biopsy and histopathology. If you get a totally calcified nodule, you consider it a granuloma and you may not proceed further. And if it is not a solitary nodule, there are multiple nodules, what do you think? Multiple are likely to be malignant and metastasis. So a tumor itself may not kill, it's the metastasis or the spread of the tumor which is ultimately going to be lethal for the patient. Can you see a large number of nodules? So these are metastases. So lung cancer kills more people than any other cancer. It's the number 1 killer in males and second in females. 5-year survival rate is still just 14%. So only 14% survive for a 5-year period. Risk factors are radon, asbestos, air pollution, and of course I'm coming to it. So smoking can damage. Are there any smokers in this class? Okay. Are there any female smokers? Okay. Okay. Okay, so smoking is usually restricted to males, but with passage of time, even females are taking up smoking. So smoking can do all of this. So if you anti-smoking slides, a smoker's lung. So If there are any smokers, be aware of this. And if the smoking continues, then you get lung cancer. And for females, in 1960, a brand was manufactured for women. They encouraged women by these advertising in such a way. So when they encouraged females to smoke, then let's see what happened. So then the anti-smoking people also got active. And as more and more females, so this is breast cancer and this is lung cancer. When this was introduced in 1960, the peak lung cancer even exceeded the breast cancer. So breast cancer was the more common tumor, but in the areas where they introduced this smoking for females, then lung cancer went up. So that was a few anti-smoking for warning for smokers. So chest X-ray is most important method to find a cancer. And if there is chronic cough, there is sputum with some blood and dyspnea, which is breathlessness, and fever, then a chest X-ray should be done. And frequently you find a mass in the lung. The secondary manifestations can be like collapse of part of the lung. There can be pleural effusion if the pleura gets involved. Pneumonitis is infection. Diaphragm elevation, lymph nodes get big or enlarged. Ribs and vertebrae get eroded due to metastasis or spread from the primary tumor. So you can see they are peripheral carcinomas like these. And there is a particular type of carcinoma which has a tendency to destroy the skeleton. So can you see the ribs are missing here? Compare this side with this and you see the first two ribs, they have been eroded. And a CT scan will show that the vertebra is also eroded and the ribs are eroded. And that is an MR image, and you can see the tumor here in the lung apex. So this type of tumor, its name is Pancoast tumor or superior sulcus tumor, and it has a tendency to affect the skeleton. So our next topic is ARDS, which stands for acute respiratory. Yes. So as you know, in this there is damage of the lung which increases the permeability and there is fluid into the alveoli. These are the figures. There is a very high mortality, nearly half of the patients having ARDS, they don't survive the ARDS. This was first described in 1967. And these other names for this are shock lung, non-cardiogenic pulmonary edema, post-traumatic pulmonary insufficiency, pump lung, stiff lung, respirator lung, and hemorrhagic lung. All these are the other names for ARDS. And unlike pulmonary edema, which can be treated and responds very rapidly, so a pulmonary edema in an hour or two you can have a return to the normal appearance, but this is due to damage. So the capillaries, the endothelium and alveoli are damaged, so you can't repair the damage. Because of this, you can't, it develops slowly and then it stays there. The permeability, you can't change it. Protein-rich edema fluid and inflammatory cells enter the air spaces. The surfactant, does everyone know surfactant? Yes. Yes. So surfactant is also not functioning properly.